Greetings, Orphanites. Welcome back once again to our filmmaking vlog here on the orphanmovie.com. As always, I'm your host, Jonathan Russell. And this time around, we were going to talk about some of the things we learned as far as our making of our adaptation of Who's on First. I wanted to let you know first, though, that we are going to be releasing it next week. As I said before, we're going to be releasing it to the people on the on our email list first. We'll be sending a link or something like that, probably through the email, that they're going to look at it first, and then a couple of days later we'll release it generally in our social media. This is, of course, like I've told you before, our first short film, so we've been really excited about this, and there was a lot of work that's gone on in it, and Jacob's still got a lot of work to get finished with to wrap it up and have it ready for next week, but he's going to make every effort to do so. Probably the number one thing that's the biggest takeaway from this is time. We knew that we were going to need time, and we didn't give ourselves enough time. A lot of the things we thought would fall into place didn't. As I mentioned before, Katie and I, my wife and I, we were on vacation and came back literally the Tuesday before we shot. And that was not really a great idea, but we had put ourselves on a little bit of a time restraint because we wanted to get this out. We wanted early November to be the latest that we allowed ourselves to get this out, and we should have spent more time than we did. As far as the production, there's things that we didn't anticipate. That one of the problems I'd mentioned before is we got skylights in the ceiling, and the lighting was being messed with through that. We only have a couple of lights that we use, and we really needed better lighting for it. While we can't thank our boom operator people enough for their help, they're weren't experienced with it. They would kind of lose track of where the mic was and that kind of thing. So there ended up being some sound problems, and there's things like that we didn't anticipate. That we could have gone back and done reshoots. We really didn't want to do that, though. We didn't think it was really worth the time and the effort to do that, because we thought what we had was going to be good enough, and we really do think it is. Just watched the edit that Jacob has right now last night, and it looks really good. One of the things as far as time was that Valerie and I really needed more time to learn our lines. We both had so much going on with everything else in our lives that we didn't get to spend as much time as we really needed to. But I found that kind of works to our advantage in a way, because it doesn't seem polished. It doesn't seem necessarily rehearsed. Especially whenever she's confused, it's part of it is her searching for lines at certain points, but it plays well because it plays into her confusion of trying to figure out, why are you telling me this whenever I'm asking you that? And I think the same thing's true for me. It made made it more of a normal conversation than a polished comedy routine. And I think that, like I said, I think that really works. We've got some, like I said, Jacob has some more work he's doing. He showed me or played for me last night some backtrack that's going to be playing in the background for the sound of the TV, some other things we talked about, and we think this is going to be really good, considering the time we put into it, which is not, like I said, enough. And although there's a lot more effort that's been put into it than time, we really think we have a pretty good first outing with it, and we're looking forward to getting y'all the chance to see that next week. As I said before, the email subscribers are going to be the first ones to get to see that, and then later in the week we'll release it generally. We don't have the exact days yet, but it'll be before Saturday, not this coming Saturday, which is the 2nd, I believe, or the 3rd possibly, but the following Saturday. It'll be before then. As far as other aspects, lessons learned, there's the things that I mentioned. One of the things that we talked about was the sound, and Jacob's looking at additional equipment to take care of that problem. He's also looking at additional lighting. There's other things that we're going to be doing that aren't really worth going into right now. I've actually put a little bit more time into our second film. We're kind of holding off until really doing anything on that until we get Who's on First out. But I've actually got somebody in mind right now for the. There's actually two parts. It's a father and a child, and there's somebody I've worked with before that has a couple of children that have done work on stage also along with him, and I think that that would probably be a good solution. I would need to contact him and see if he has any interest in that. As far as the second film, I have somebody in mind that I need to contact as far as doing that. I really want to hold auditions, but there's somebody I think that might be willing to do to be part of it, and since the two roles in it are a father and a son, he has a couple of children that are about the right age, and if it had to be a father and daughter, that would work as well. But I need to get a hold of him and see if he has an interest in being part of it. But we're kind of holding off right now. Like I said, we want to get Who's on First out there before we take any further steps with our second film. As far as The Orphan, it's still in a holding pattern. We haven't really made any progress on it yet. There's still wheels grinding in my head all the time. I've got a couple of ideas as far as script changes I may make. Still out there looking for different ideas and such. So it's not dead. It's not comatose even. It's on the back burner right now. And while things are being moved in the direction towards that, we're just going really slow with it right now. As I said, we're going to be releasing Who's on First next week, and if you want to be one of the first people to see it, go to our website, theorphanmovie.com. Go to the email sign-up page. There's a form there. All we need is your first name and your email address, and we'll be putting you on the list. And when we send the emails out, say, hey, here's Who's on First, take a look. We'll make sure that you're one of the first ones to get that. If you want to wait, like I said, we'll be releasing the notes on social media, and of course that's going to be the Orphan Movie on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you want to email us, the email of course is realorphanmovie@gmail.com. And once you get to see Who's on First, we'd really love to hear from you. I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of things that people are going to criticize us on. Believe us, we're aware of them. But if you have useful feedback, we'd love to hear it. If it's something that's like, hey, I noticed this, and here's a quick, easy fix for it, or something like that, or you might want to watch for this in the future, please tell us those things, because we really need to know them. We want to learn. That's one of the reasons we're doing this. One of the reasons we put this out there. We're hoping that people will learn from us and from our mistakes, which you're going to be able to see some of those on Who's on First, and some of which I just covered. But like I said, we want the feedback from all of you to help us along and make us better filmmakers. That pretty well wraps it up for us this time around. Next week we will be talking about something else, probably Who's on First, maybe again, I'm not really sure, but by the time this is out, Who's on First should be available at least to the email subscribers. And until then, we will see you next week right here on theorphanmovie.com.